turning our attention to the Oregon Ducks. We just mentioned they were 13-0. They were number one in the country, Big Ten champs in year one of the conference. And then they show up to the Rose Bowl. They get off the bus, and a few minutes later, the game's over. Reasons might include your coverage plans against Ohio State on the opening two drives of the game. Couple 40-plus yard touchdowns had that thing over quickly. So now we've got a very interesting position in terms of an Oregon team that has lost a program record number of NFL draft picks, that is turning to the quarterback in Dante Moore, who, they've had their eyes on since he was in high school. So as opposed to a Dylan Gabriel or a Bo Nix, I know he spent a year at UCLA, but this is definitely something that Dan Lanning and the Brain Trust have had in the works. They've already taken some injury issues, as we've mentioned. They've already had some dismissals or indefinite suspensions as well to a couple notable younger players. Whether they were going to be big factors, I guess we will only find out later down the line. But the FanDuel win total is set at 10.5, over plus 164, under minus 205. Maybe you want to introduce other numbers to the conversation as well, but we're picking it for the show at 10.5. Bud, what are we doing?
We're going under, and very much related to my rant just a minute ago about not having alt win totals. Like this, Oregon was a team that I was waiting to bet the under so I could bet an alt, and looks like I missed my window. So I'm just going to go ahead and take under on the full season. I think Dante Moore could be really good. I don't have a lot of faith in this receiver room. I do like Decorian Moore a whole lot. I think he's going to be the best freshman receiver in the country, but they may need more than one guy there. Obviously, I like the running back. I think there's some chance the offensive line doesn't have a big drop-off from what it had last year. But this is so many new moving pieces for Oregon's offense, and we just haven't seen it. And there are some real danger spots here. Probably not on the left side of the screen if you're watching this on YouTube, which you should. Let's get us 6,000. Come on. But at Penn State, obviously, is scary. Hosting USC is kind of scary. At Washington, if Washington stays healthy, is scary. And at Iowa is also scary. So I'm under here. It's not an insane schedule, but that's kind of a grind. And they were so veteran last year. And we'll see how well Lanning does with younger players, because this is a younger football team.
Yeah, I'm also on the under for a lot of the same reasons, in that, we've seen Dan Lanning as head coach at Oregon with, 24-year-old QBs. We haven't seen him with a young, well, not so much young anymore, but inexperienced as far as overall snaps at the position. And I mean, I know Dante Moore started some games for UCLA a few years ago, but that was a few years ago. He hasn't started in a while. So the schedule-wise, I think Penn State on the road is a bear. They're probably going to lose that game. And then we saw it last year. When the West Coast teams had to travel east, they struggled. When the East Coast teams had to travel west, they struggled. And it wasn't just, because of the disparity in the rosters. It was the really good teams would go east and struggle against the bad teams. And games would either be closer than they was, or they would just outright lose them. So a trip to Rutgers, you don't look at that as something to be concerned about, but ask Washington how that could go. A trip to Iowa playing in Kinnick is never fun. And then you get to Washington on the road. That's not across time zones, but still. It's going to be a good football team. It's a rivalry game. I don't think 10-2 is anything insane when it comes to Oregon. Frankly, if Oregon finishes 10-2, it was a great season because they're back in the college football playoff.
Yeah, I think that's the connection here, that as we're picking it at 10.5, I can still have Oregon in my projected college football playoff. I can still take an under here. I'm not going to be betting this. I think that to add on to the travel conversation and not having a week before you play Penn State, how about not have? I apologize, Mike. I know I should trust what you've done in Stillwater, but I mean, are they even going to get threatened before they play Penn State? Like, when you've got a big game like that, I think that especially one that's going to hold that much significance for the Big Ten title race in terms of any potential tiebreakers and being able to make it back to the Big Ten title game. Man, I would like if they had to bleed a little bit. And I just think that they are going to be able to overwhelm with talent each of their first four opponents in a way that their Dante Moore, our new starting quarterback, really might not have to sweat. I mean, at a minimum, they're not going to face a defense that scares me before they go up against Penn State. So when I'm looking for, the trouble spots at Penn State, to me, is even more troublesome for that X factor of it being the toughest opponent that they will have played all season to that point.
Danny also on the under. And I will say the good news is, we know Dan Lanning's very excited to play along the lakefront when he goes to visit Northwestern this year.
Didn't he tell us that?
Yeah, he told us he's hyped.
Yeah, he's ready to go. All right. Let's see. Anything else on the Ducks?
None of us mentioned Sadiq, but he's a stud tight end.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's was it Max Clare, Eli Stowers, and Kenyon Sadiq, and anybody else you would put in the top tier of tight ends nationally, entire country?
Claire's the one that's getting all the love right now.
Claire should have a great season. I don't know if I'd consider him more talented than Sadiq. He might have better numbers.
Georgia likes both their guys. I mean, that's, we'll see if one emerges as like a real stud. Miami loves their kid, Lofton. He's been getting carries.
No. I was just laughing. It's like Georgia likes their tight ends.
Yeah, right.
What? It's weird. I think that's
a good. Yeah, Stowers from Vandy is for sure.
But I think that we've talked a lot about Mekhi Hughes. We've talked a lot about that running back room. I think that there's nothing with that we are having Duck hate when we say this is one of the most talented rosters in the country. We just need to go see it before you're saying they are 11-1. So we'll see.